For an underground run-through PVC conduit to a mobile home from the meter pole, with an estimated run of 100 to 125 feet, it is important to select the correct wire size and type. The recommended wire size is number 4 American wire gauge. This wire size is generally capable of handling the current draw of a typical mobile home. Regarding the wire type, THHN, which stands for thermoplastic high heat resistant nylon coated, or THWN, which stands for thermoplastic high heat resistant water and oil resistant nylon coated, are both suitable choices. These wire types are designed for underground installations and can withstand burial conditions. The PVC conduit selected should be of an adequate size to facilitate easy wire pulling. A 1-inch or 1.25-inch conduit is typically sufficient for number 4 American wire gauge wire. There are some additional considerations to take into account. Firstly, it is important to use a grounding rod at the mobile home to establish a proper grounding connection. Secondly, seal the ends of the conduit to prevent moisture ingress. Thirdly, employ appropriate connectors and fittings to create a weatherproof connection between the wire and the conduit. And lastly, adhere to all local electrical codes and regulations. It is highly recommended to consult with a licensed electrician to ensure the installation is performed correctly and safely. Selecting the appropriate wire size is crucial for ensuring safe and efficient electrical distribution to the mobile home. Undersized wires can lead to overheating, voltage drops, and potentially dangerous situations. Number 4 American wire gauge is a common choice for mobile home service, but the specific requirements may vary based on the calculated load and local electrical codes. Always perform a load calculation to determine the minimum required ampacity for the service conductors. The choice between THHN and THWN wire types depends on the specific environmental conditions. Both are suitable for wet locations when installed in conduit, but THWN has added resistance to water and oil, making it a preferable choice in particularly damp or corrosive environments. When pulling the wires through the conduit, use a pulling lubricant to reduce friction and prevent damage to the insulation. Ensure the conduit is properly supported and buried at the correct depth as required by local codes. The grounding system is a critical safety component of the electrical installation. The grounding rod should be made of copper or copper-clad steel and driven into the ground to a sufficient depth to achieve a low-resistance connection to earth. The grounding electrode conductor, which connects the grounding rod to the mobile home's grounding bus bar, should be sized appropriately based on the size of the service entrance conductors. Sealing the conduit ends prevents moisture from entering the system, which can corrode the conductors and create electrical hazards. Use a suitable sealant or waterproof fittings to ensure a tight seal. The connectors and fittings used to connect the wire to the meter pole and the mobile home's electrical panel must be weatherproof and rated for underground use. These fittings should be properly installed and tightened to prevent water from entering the connections. Local electrical codes and regulations are in place to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. These codes may vary depending on the location, so it is essential to consult with the local authorities or a licensed electrician to ensure compliance. Some common electrical code requirements include minimum wire sizes, conduit burial depths, grounding requirements, and overcurrent protection. Consulting with a licensed electrician is highly recommended to ensure that the installation is performed correctly and safely. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to properly size the wires, install the conduit, make the connections, and test the system to ensure it meets all applicable codes and regulations. Additionally, they can identify any potential hazards or issues and provide solutions to address them. The NEC, or National Electrical Code, provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical installations. It is essential to be familiar with the relevant sections of the NEC to ensure compliance. Some key sections include Article 220, which covers load calculations, Article 250, which covers grounding and bonding, Article 300, which covers wiring methods, and Article 310, which covers conductors for general wiring. When performing a load calculation, consider all the electrical loads in the mobile home, including lighting, appliances, heating, and air conditioning. Use the appropriate demand factors as specified in the NEC to account for the fact that not all loads will be operating simultaneously. The grounding system should include a grounding electrode conductor that connects the grounding electrode to the mobile home's grounding bus bar. The grounding electrode conductor should be sized according to NEC Table 250.66 based on the size of the service entrance conductors. The bonding system should ensure that all metal parts of the electrical system are bonded together to create a low impedance path for fault current. This includes bonding the metal conduit, metal enclosures, and metal appliances. The overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, should be sized to protect the conductors from overload and short circuits. The overcurrent protection devices should be installed in a readily accessible location and labeled to indicate the circuits they protect. Before energizing the electrical system, perform a thorough inspection to ensure that all connections are tight, all wires are properly insulated, and all grounding and bonding connections are in place. Use a multimeter to test the voltage and continuity of the circuits to verify that they are functioning correctly. When working with electricity, always follow safe work practices to prevent electrical shock and other hazards. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and rubber gloves. To energize the circuit before working on it, and use a voltage tester to verify that it is energized. Never work alone, and always have someone nearby who can assist in case of an emergency. The underground installation should be protected from physical damage by burying the conduit at the appropriate depth and by using warning tape or other markers to indicate the presence of underground utilities. The conduit should be installed in a trench that is free of sharp rocks or other objects that could damage it. Backfill the trench with clean soil and compact it properly to prevent settling. The electrical panel in the mobile home should be properly sized to accommodate the electrical loads. The panel should have sufficient space for all the required circuit breakers or fuses. The panel should be installed in a readily accessible location and should be properly labeled. The wiring in the mobile home should be in good condition and should meet all applicable codes and regulations. Replace any damaged or deteriorated wiring. The connections should be tight and secure. The wiring should be properly supported and protected from physical damage. The appliances in the mobile home should be properly grounded and should be in good working order. Repair or replace any damaged or malfunctioning appliances. The appliances should be used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The lighting in the mobile home should be adequate for the needs of the occupants. Use energy-efficient light bulbs to reduce energy consumption. The lighting fixtures should be properly installed and should be in good working order. The heating and air conditioning systems in the mobile home should be properly maintained and should be in good working order. Clean or replace the filters regularly. The system should be used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The electrical system in the mobile home should be inspected periodically by a qualified electrician to ensure that it is safe and reliable. The inspection should include a visual inspection of the wiring, connections, and equipment, as well as electrical testing to verify that the system is functioning correctly. Any necessary repairs or replacements should be made promptly. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician if you are not comfortable performing the work yourself. The NEC specifies the ampacity of conductors based on their size and insulation type. For example, number 4 American wire gauge THHN copper conductor has an ampacity of 70 amps at 75 degrees Celsius. It is important to select a conductor with an ampacity that is sufficient to carry the load. Voltage drop is a reduction in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a conductor. Excessive voltage drop can cause appliances to malfunction and can reduce the efficiency of the electrical system. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. The length of the wire run, the size of the wire, and the amount of current flowing through the wire all affect voltage drop. The NEC provides formulas for calculating voltage drop. Conduit fill refers to the amount of space inside a conduit that is occupied by wires. The NEC specifies the maximum allowable conduit fill to prevent overheating and to make it easier to pull wires through the conduit. The NEC tables provide information on the maximum number of wires of a given size that can be installed in a particular size of conduit. When installing underground conduit, it is important to ensure that it is buried at the proper depth to protect it from physical damage. The NEC specifies the minimum burial depths for different types of conduit and different locations. The burial depth should be measured from the top of the conduit to the surface of the ground. When making connections to electrical equipment, it is important to use the proper connectors and fittings. The connectors and fittings should be rated for the type of wire and the type of equipment being connected. The connections should be tight and secure to prevent loose connections, which can cause overheating and electrical hazards. When working with electricity, it is important to be aware of the potential hazards and to take precautions to protect yourself. Always energize the circuit before working on it. Use insulated tools and wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Never work in wet or damp conditions. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult with a qualified electrician. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are devices that protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults. A ground fault occurs when electricity flows through an unintended path to ground, such as through a person's body. GFCIs are required in certain locations, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or RFCIs, are devices that protect against electrical fires by detecting arc faults. An arc fault is an unintentional electrical discharge that can occur when wires are damaged or connections are loose. RFCIs are required in certain locations, such as bedrooms and living rooms. Surge protectors are devices that protect against voltage surges. A voltage surge is a sudden increase in voltage that can damage electrical equipment. Surge protectors should be installed at the main electrical panel and at individual appliances. Smoke detectors are devices that detect smoke and provide an early warning of a fire. Smoke detectors should be installed in every bedroom and on every level of the home. Carbon monoxide detectors are devices that detect carbon monoxide, a colorless and odorless gas that can be deadly. Carbon monoxide detectors should be installed near sleeping areas. Regularly test smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors to ensure that they are working properly. Replace the batteries at least once a year. Have a fire extinguisher readily available and know how to use it. Develop a fire escape plan and practice it regularly.